Today, we're going to talk about candle making using an analogy, making a Thanksgiving feast. It is a few days past Thanksgiving, but better late than never. Said no successful person ever. I'm sure you are wondering how a Thanksgiving feast relates to candle making. Maybe feeling a little abreast, but don't worry, there is some method to the madness. I'm not just winging it. Sorry, just feeling a little saucy today. Wow, I am such a ham. Please help, I can't stop. By the way, yes, I know, shelves behind me, very bare. I'm in my new space and I have not had time to really get to this, so it is what it is. If you've ever made or helped make a Thanksgiving feast, then you know that it's just a bunch of several components that all come together. Independently, it's just separate food, materials. On any other day, it's just a seemingly random assortment of yumminess, minus the yams. But all planned out, prepared together, and served as one, they go from an outcast of dishes that most people neglect the rest of the year into a wonderful union of nap-inducing, hunger-satisfying, awkward family conversation starting, once-a-year magnificent meal called the Thanksgiving Feast, aka candle making. Let's break it down. Naturally, we are going to start with the turkey, or the main course. In candle making, how could this be anything other than the wax? Why? Well, everything is built upon that foundation. You really can't make a candle without wax, and this part of the meal dictates everything else. This is likely the first thing that you're going to choose and then plan everything else around. Once you've nailed this part, it's easier to spend more time on everything else, but until you get this part right, the rest of the meal really doesn't matter all that much. Now, there are a ton of options when it comes to waxes, as most of you know, and on this channel, there are a lot of videos talking about different options when it comes to waxes. I use several different waxes myself, depending on application and customer and all that, but I would encourage that you just keep this simple at first if you're new to candle making, sample a few different waxes, see what you like the best, and go from there. You can always change it later, but I would make your life a lot easier starting out by just picking one wax and going with it. Next up, the side dishes. Now here, of course, we're talking about your stuffing and your corn and your casseroles, your mashed potatoes, your dinner rolls. Now these are your fragrance oils. There are always a lot of side dishes at Thanksgiving, and there are a ton of fragrance oils for you to choose from as a candle maker. This is the part of candle making where most people spend the most time and have the most fun because there are so many options, and you're gonna find way more that you like than you could actually have room to bring to the table. But the good news is that there are a ton of options, and it's really up to you to decide which ones you want to use. Not only are there a ton of options for fragrance oils, but there are a ton of suppliers for fragrance oils as well. Now, I want to mention a little side note on another side dish here, and that is cranberry sauce. It's very polarizing. Some people really like it, some love it, but there's a lot of people that just hate it and won't eat it. We all have that cranberry sauce fragrance oil that you and a few others like, but no one else really does. But that's okay. That's yours and you keep it. For example, I love leather. I wouldn't mind if my entire house smelled like Boot Barn or the inside of a leather jacket, but that's just me. And it's not my only cranberry sauce fragrance oil. So you embrace your own cranberry sauce and you do you. Next up, spices and seasonings. Now stick with me here, but these are your wicks. Why? Well, if you use the wrong spice, it could ruin your whole meal. It just flat out might not work. So choose wisely. Most chefs learn the proper type and amount of seasoning through trial and error, through experimentation, through testing. And the same goes for candle makers. Wick testing is an integral part of candle making that cannot be skipped if you want to make good products. But when it comes to spices, it's not just about what type of spice, it's how much you should use of that spice or wick. If you use too little spice, it's barely noticeable. You might as well not use it at all. Too small of a wick, well, it's not going to do its job, and it won't keep up, and it eventually will become useless part of the candle. It'll drown out, it'll tunnel, your candle won't burn. But too much spice can overpower the meal. Too large of a wick could cause way too much heat, large carbon mushrooms, make the candle jar way too hot, and even burn off some of the fragrance oil. So using too large of a wick is just as bad. Now on the surface, your main dish and your sides, or your wax and your fragrance oils, are what most people think about. But good or bad seasoning, or wicking, can make or break a meal, or a candle. All right, so now it's time to set the table. This is about your display, or your chosen jars, your labels, or decoration, or maybe even a splash of color. Does it look good? Do I want to join in on the feast? Or, I'll just run up the street to Corner Cafe and have a run-of-the-mill Thanksgiving dinner for one on the cheap. First impressions are so important. Remember, everyone sees your Thanksgiving feast before they actually dig in. Every customer will see your candle before they smell it, and they will smell it before they burn it. Presentation matters. If you only focus on the end result, well then no one's ever gonna make it to the end to notice. How about dessert? Actually, I hadn't really thought about that one. I'm just kidding, I'm such a turkey. Sorry, been holding that one in. Dessert is all about the little extras, going that extra mile to satisfy the table. or your customers. In the candle making world, this could be giving away little freebies or maybe discounts on future purchases, thank you cards, a handwritten note, a follow-up email, something that just shows that you appreciate the business and that you appreciate your customers. Dessert might be the last part of the meal, but it also might be the first thing they remember. All right, now it's my turn. I want to give a big thank you to all of you for supporting Black Tie Barn and this channel from the get-go. It amazes me how much this channel and community has grown in just about a year and a half. I truly love helping, sharing, and engaging with all of you. I would love to have you around for more videos, so double check that you're subscribed here to the channel, and if not, hit that subscribe button. Also, check out this next video. Happy Thanksgiving and happy candle making.